Hi everyone, my name is Christy and welcome to my Trying a New Makeup Product Everyday series. Today I'm going to be trying out this eyeshadow palette from the brand BeeBeauty London, and it's the Barbarella palette. Now I'm really excited to try this out because I love trying out new eyeshadow palettes, but I also love trying out new makeup brands. And I had never heard of the brand BeeBeauty London, but I got this in my March 2021 Boxy Luxe box. So that was such an awesome box. If you have not seen my unboxing of it, I'll have that video linked in the description down below. But this is a big palette and it also has a big retail. This retails for $50. So I'm really excited that I get to try out such an expensive palette. It's cruelty free. There's glitter eyeshadows, shimmer eyeshadows, and matte eyeshadows. And look at all of these shades. 20 shades here. And there's the big mirror. I love when there's a mirror. And I see lots of beautiful shimmers, a few mattes, but it's definitely mostly shimmer. So there's a matte black, a matte off-white, a matte beige shade, and then these two are mattes. So 5 mattes, 15 shimmers. And first impression is that I do like the colors in here, but I feel like there's a lot of repetitive colors. So if I wanted like a shimmery warm tone brown, there's 4 to choose from. If I want like a shimmering champagne shade, there's like 5, 6 to choose from. Shimmery dark brown, 3 to choose from. And then 1 shimmering green. But I do feel like you could put together really beautiful daytime looks and nighttime looks from this palette. But of course, first things first, I'm going to just start out by doing some swatches. So definitely want to swatch this blue. Swatch some shimmers. I feel like I'm not picking up that much with that shimmer. There's not like the most, not the most buttery of feels. Just feel a little bit dry. Swatch this black. I don't know, the matte shades feel a lot more buttery than the shimmers, and that's surprising. It's usually the other way around. But let's see how these swatches look. Pretty and sparkly. Ooh, beautiful bright blue. That black is definitely dull, at least from the swatch. Oh wow. The blue, it's really bright, but it already it stained my finger with the pigment. So the swatches, they're all right. Definitely not blowing me away. But here is what they look like. Also, these colors together, I kind of chose one color from each of the families, I guess. And it doesn't, I'm not too excited about these colors, you know? I just feel like $50 is very expensive for an eyeshadow palette, so I'm keeping that in mind as I'm reviewing this. And, you know, for $50, you should be able to get great shade range. By the way, I'm doing what I usually do and just priming one of my eyes to test these out with and without an eyeshadow primer. So I'm going in with my Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion that I use all the time. And then just blending the primer all over the eyelid and then up onto the brow bone. So I am glad to see 2 essential shades in this palette already. A highlight shade and an off-white matte shade. So first I'm going to start with the off-white matte shade. A little bit of kickback there. And I'm going to dust that all over the lid, just basically where I put the primer, to set the lid so that all of the other shades can blend easier on top of it. And this shade, it's doing a good job of canceling out some discoloration in my eyelid. It's not super pigmented, like I'm seeing some sheerness to it, but for this purpose, I think it's fine. All of the shades have like person names to them. But so for the highlight shade, I'm gonna go in with this shade called Kofi and apply this to the brow bone. This is a nice highlight shade. It's sparkly, but it has some good reflection of the light, so it helps make the brow bones pop. And then I'm also using this same Kofi shade in that inner corner. It almost has a kind of pinky tone sheen to it, which I think is really pretty. I like this a lot in the inner corners. I feel like that's nice and brightening. And now I think this matte shade called Oliver will be a good transition shade. So I'm gonna blend that from the crease up to the brow bone to start building up some dimension here. I'm not finding this to be super pigmented. I'm dipping my brush in a lot to build it up to even show up on my eye. And it's definitely very sheer. Something about this color. It's not a great transition shade. It's almost looking a little bit like a mustard color. Different than how it looks in the pan here. I don't know, I thought it was going to be creating more depth to the eye than it is. And so cleaning off my brush to try and build up that depth, I'm gonna pick up the other matte brown. This one a lot darker. It looks like it's pretty warm tone, so let's see. This one's okay. It is like a chocolate brown. I don't feel like any of the shades on my eyes right now are very cohesive though. It's kind of like you've got the pinky shimmery brow highlight, then the mustardy yellow brown transition, and then a chocolate brown crease. And now I basically have to move on to shimmers because that's what I have left to use. So I'm gonna pick up, let's try this darker brown shimmer called Louise, and tap that into the outer corner. This one's looking pretty good. It's kind of like a greenish brown, but it's pigmented and it has a metallic finish, which is nice. Another color that doesn't necessarily go with the other shades on my eye that much, but who knows, maybe when this eye look is done it'll all look good together. Maybe it'll all come together. But I do like how that shade looks. It's pretty dark. And then trying to choose a shade that I think should pull this together, I'm gonna go in with Zachary, more of like a lighter gray silver maybe? No. Definitely not looking how I was expecting it to look on my lid. I thought this was going to be more gray, and it's definitely a lot lighter on the lid than how it looks in the pan here. It's like a champagne shade. It's pretty, but not what I was expecting, and doesn't really go with any of the other colors. Crazy. All of the colors that I chose, and none of them really go that great together. And this one, I'm just having a harder time building it up. Like I'm having to reach back in to the pan to try and layer this to make it opaque and show up. So it's kind of hard to work with and not great pigment. And it's just kind of like a sticky eyeshadow, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not buttery, blendable, pigmented, like it's just more sticky and sheer. And then let's try and blend out any harsh lines. I don't hate the color combinations, but I definitely am not in love with it. Let's go ahead and apply a color to the lower lash line. I'm gonna do this shimmering brown here called Andrea. This one's not bad for the lower lash line. I like the sheen of the shimmery metallic finish. So here is my finished eyeshadow look. I don't hate it, but I'm definitely not super excited about it. I'm not super excited about the colors, not super excited about the formulas. This claimed to be crease proof, and that does seem to be the case, so that's good. This is the eye with the primer versus the eye without the primer, and both sides look the same as far as the amount of pigment, no creasing, so that's good about the formulas. But they were just not the easiest to work with. A little bit of a tougher texture, just not super buttery or blendable. And for $50, I just think you can get so much better options for that much money. Like $50 is a lot, but I would be very curious to hear your thoughts on this palette in the comments down below if you have tried it out. And so I could see myself reaching for this palette again for those shimmering neutral shades, but it's not going to be like my travel go-to palette because I just want other colors than what I got in this. But still, I want to thank you so much for watching my video today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you can see the makeup that I try every day, and I will see you tomorrow in my next video.